What is going on, everyone? It is me, the Lone Vault Wanderer, and welcome to Story Explained, a series where I explain and describe in depth the main stories of video games from start to finish. These videos can be used to help you more fully understand or simply relive the story of the particular game being covered. In the first episode, we're starting with a game that I think you'll all love to hear about, the original Fallout, or Fallout 1 for simplicity. However, if you all like this series, I'll certainly be continuing it with other games aside from just Fallout, such as BioShock, wink wink. But full credit where it's due, the inspiration for this series comes from a YouTube channel known as Illegible Monster, which runs a similar series that I absolutely love called Complete Story. I've been watching their stuff for years, have been inspired by their series, and now want to create a story series for my own channel with my own personal twist, covering my favorite games. And of course, with regards to Fallout in particular, the Shorty Cast have been covering Fallout lore for years and have really become the masters at it. Both of these channels are linked in the description below, and I highly recommend that you check them both out. Importantly, the information that you're hearing from today's video has been sourced from my own personal experiences of playing Fallout 1, having just completed it, and of course the Fallout Wiki, which is also linked in the description below. Please ensure that you support the Wiki, as it is a phenomenal source of information. And lastly, if you like this series and would like to see it continue with other games, please leave a like, comment, and also subscribe if you're new. So with all that out of the way, this is Fallout 1 Story Explained. Fallout 1 is set in a post-apocalyptic world that has been ravaged by worldwide nuclear war, occurring on October 23, 2077. This war has been aptly named the Great War. By and large, the Great War was predominantly caused by tensions resulting from a worldwide energy crisis, whereby fossil fuel and natural resource supplies globally began to run out by the year 2050. In response to this, nations around the world attempted to obtain and protect all remaining supplies of petroleum, which consequently spurred a number of large military conflicts, which include the European Commonwealth undertaking military action against certain areas in the Middle East, and also the United States invading China as a result of China's own invasion of Alaska in an attempt to secure the state's oil reserves. And in the midst of all of this, the United Nations, the pinnacle of international cooperation and diplomacy, failed to maintain peace between global nations and was eventually disbanded after member organizations began to pull out. All of these events can collectively be referred to as the Resource Wars. The conflicts such as those aforementioned then began to build and build, soon culminating into the Great War. While the war itself only lasted roughly 2 hours, it involved all nuclear-equipped nations around the world launching their nuclear weapons, nukes, and missiles at other countries, completely decimating the world and literally changing the course of humankind. While it's not known for certain who actually fired the very first nuclear strike that prompted nations worldwide to respond in kind with attacks of their own, the end result is all the same. The world was plunged into a nuclear holocaust, killing billions over time. And then we come to the events of the very first Fallout game, which takes place 84 years after the Great War, in the year 2161. Fallout 1 is set in Southern California and begins in a location known as Vault 13. Vault 13 is one of many underground bunkers designed and built by two companies, Vault-Tec Corporation and later Robco Industries, as part of the Project Safe House initiative commissioned by the United States government in the year 2054. The supposed reason for the building of these vaults was simple: the many global conflicts involved in the resource wars and the associated declining supply of the world's natural resources prompted many to believe that a nuclear catastrophe was inevitable. Anticipating this, Vault-Tec set out to build 122 public vaults across the United States in order to protect thousands of citizens from the possibility of a nuclear war. Well, at least that was the officially described purpose. In reality, these vaults were actually part of an entire series of secret social experiments conducted by the government of the United States in order to determine how citizens would cope in response to different tests, social experiments, and living environments. For example, with regards to Vault 12, the government wanted to study how radiation would actually affect the population. and therefore programmed the protective door to the vault to not actually close properly, which resulted in the mutation of the inhabitants of the vault into ghouls. Vault 13, however, undertook a slightly less severe experiment. Whereas certain control vaults were intended to open again around 10 to 20 years after they were closed following the Great War, thereby enabling inhabitants to rebuild society once again, Vault 13 on the other hand was programmed to stay closed for 200 years in order to study the effects of prolonged isolation on the inhabitants of the vault. And it is in Vault 13 where you start Fallout 1 as the game's protagonist. Your character can be named whatever you want him to be, but in subsequent Fallout games, he is simply referred to as the Vault Dweller. However, not all is well in Vault 13. Something has gone terribly wrong, and it is up to you to resolve the problem. But what exactly is this problem? Well, that's all going to be explained in the next part of this Fallout 1 Story Explained series. I hope you enjoyed the very first video in my Story Explained series on Fallout 1. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. If you have any suggestions to help improve the series in any way, or potentially any other games you want me to cover in the future, please also let me know in the comments below. As soon as the next Fallout 1 Story Explained video is uploaded, I will link it in the description below and also have a card pop up on the screen that you can click on. So until next time, this has been the Lone Vault Wanderer. Please take care of yourself, and would you kindly keep fighting the good fight.